show from me. I don't know how to introduce myself any better. Good morning, everyone. I hope my video is coming up fine. You're able to see me. And I'm going to be sharing just our thought process. Before I do that, thank you so much, Lisa, for the amazing opportunity to present our thought process, our vision, and what we have in our mind with respect to this geography we love so much that we all call New Mexico. Um, Very interesting topic in terms of how innovation. Um, so there is a lot of there is a lot of chatter about what's going on in and around us. What actually means innovation to different economies of scale mean differently to different people. But at Cerracap, we have a different perspective on how we view innovation, as well as how we would want our footprint to land and expand in New Mexico. A little bit about Cerracap Ventures. We are a global technology VC firm, and we focus in new fundamentals of digital age, namely healthcare tech, cybersecurity, and enterprise AI. Now, some of the things that other venture capital firms, our friends, would kind of bring to bear, what we really specialize is in sales and scale, because we, unlike the folks from Goldman Sachs and others, we have been pure technologists. The founders and the folks, we started off as technologists. We understand technology, and we ended up creating a corporate venture capital group at one of the previous employers, and we were able to give 9x returns. One fine day we thought, well, let's venture on our own and then see where life would take us. The first fund, Vintage 2015, started with a $5 million, which was more of a testing the water. And it was amazing to raise that kind of money in just 30 days and deploy in almost 45 days. That gave us confidence. And at that point in time, while we could have taken a lot of risks, we wanted to go ahead with managing our risk and taking a calculated risk with going ahead with Blue Dot. Now we call it as Biome. Why is that important? Because that was co-incubated with LANO, Los Alamos National Lab. So Cerracap was very fortunate to have its intersection with LANO since the genesis of this concept that we now call Cerracap Ventures. Fast forward this, as part of Fund 2, 2017, we found good friends with SMC, Sun Mountain Capital, and we had a lot of great experience in dealing with amazing technology that kept on coming our way and seeing the potential that New Mexico has in store for us. Fast forward, we also then started investing into different areas like robotic skies and now in 3DGS. Currently, as John mentioned, we are in third fund, Vintage 2021, which we launched just last year. We are in the process of raising 100 million. But our objective is to see as to how we can be a part of that growth momentum, the innovation ecosystem that is being cultivated and nurtured in New Mexico. Although we have presence in Los Angeles, London, now Singapore, and a few other places with syndicates and relationships across different countries, we wanted to see how we can orchestrate the innovation ecosystem within the US. Some of our portfolio companies like Biome went to Seattle, and Robotic Skies did find its new home in Salt Lake City, Utah. Our objective is to kind of change the flow. We want the companies outside New Mexico to find their home in New Mexico, and we want to do what we say. And with that, what I'm very pleased to share that one of our portfolio companies, ActShift, has moved from Bay Area to find its home in Santa Fe, New Mexico. And we are already in conversations with Green Arc and a few other portfolio companies and some of our friends and affiliates in the industry to see how we can enable them, empower them to see this massive potential that we see in New Mexico, so that they also see from our lens as to this is not just the land of enchantment. This is going to be the new capital of disruptive innovation. We firmly believe in that thought process. And my focus, along with my team at Cerracap, is to orchestrate and institutionalize that thought process. Now, yesterday I was searching as to what was the root word or the origin for the word innovation. And interestingly, what I found was it comes from the word novus, which means new. So as you see, the DNA of New Mexico already has the novus, the innovation, and that makes it spectacularly unique with respect to the kind of potential it holds. In 19th century, when the sociologist in France, Gabriel Tarde, came up with the thought process of having the social change driving the innovative thought process, that's when people started kind of giving a lot of focus on what this word innovation would mean. Eventually, in this current era, we ended up coining innovation as a process of creating value by applying novel solutions to meaningful problems. Otherwise, we might have a lot of ideas, a lot of creativity. But what really drives innovation? The innovation is surrounded by a lot of buzzwords that we see, but in order to kind of distill it further down, from our vantage point, the way we see it, there are four critical elements of innovation: collaboration, ideation, implementation, and value creation. Because this is what kind of sets the tone for those who are going to be dreaming about innovation, who are going to think what would the new trajectory would look like. These are the dreamers. But more importantly, we also need, the society also need the doers who are going to kind of change this idea, this thought process into an actionable outcome, an actionable journey that would have meaningful outcome. And to that end, we have the doers of the world as well. But what at Cerracap, what we have come to realization is we need the dreamers who can do as well. And that's the unique distinctive advantage that we have seen come from the land of New Mexico. Now, with respect to the innovation, I was talking to one of my friends, and he works in the audit space. And jokingly, he said, well, I wish there is a lot of innovation in the audit space, especially during the year-end time, so that the holiday song is the most wonderful time of the year would make sense for them as well. Probably someone can come with something that will make their life a little simpler. So that's what innovation is all about. Maybe one of you who is listening to it might be thinking as to how we can make life simpler, easier, and better. That's the core genesis of innovation. Now, innovation from our standpoint, it's very important for us to understand how the impact on the market is driving the thought process with respect to that technology newness and how disruptive the technology is. I was very fascinated to see the 9 market segments that have been charted as captured as part of the charter or the target industries in terms of the focus for New Mexico. And most of the intersections do organically is there in the thought process or vision for Cerracap Ventures, namely health tech. You have bioscience and healthcare aspects of it. Cybersecurity. We have a core focus on cybersecurity, as well as enterprise AI, whether it's intelligent manufacturing smart agriculture. There are many such facets, and our ambition is also to venture into quantum computing and the space tech as part of Fund 3. We are exploring that as well. So there are so many intersections. So coming from the this side of the world in California, if you were to ask, what do we see special about New Mexico? It's all the right ingredients that do exist. Right now, I am surrounded by, in this session, the elite government officials, the researchers, scientists, academic scholars. So this is what is really needed to make things happen. But in terms of understanding how the innovation culture would evolve, we have to probably move kind of from the state of incremental innovation to more of a disruptive innovation. But some of them would also probably add value to something which is sustaining the innovation cycle, or having some radical change that's gonna have low impact for now, but in due course of time, they will tend to be disruptive. Now, some of my friends in the industry believe that now we live in an era of chaotic innovation. But if there is no chaos, if there are no failures, there are no innovation. I really like when people talk about the impact of COVID and how it has led our creative minds to think about new avenues, eras to orchestrate innovation. And this is the new normal that we are living in. So I would like to define that where we are right now, which is a COVID-induced new normal, which has made us to think differently, think laterally, move from sustainable aspect to disruptive, or maybe incremental to radical way of thinking, to now how we can get ready for a tech disruption, that next normal. This is the time. This is the time to move away from new normal to next normal. And our focus, our collaboration with New Mexico is going to orchestrate that. We are here to listen to you. We are here to understand you. And because you would know the nuances, you have that advantage. We do have the advantage of the shared common history with Biome or 3DGS or Robotic Skies, and now having some of our portfolio companies move into New Mexico. But there are certain ingredients that are going to be very fundamental to how we are going to be jointly orchestrating the power of innovation, and it's going to fuel the momentum, the growth momentum in the economy. This is one of my favorite thought process, and I would love to share with you. And again, this is something that we at Cerracap firmly believe in. This is not our first rendezvous in kind of orchestrating how we can create a culture of innovation ecosystem. This is what we have seen as to have worked with us when we orchestrated innovation in the country of Mexico. When we joined hands with the former head of state at Mexico to create an innovation ecosystem that's going to create jobs, technology jobs for the young kids that were coming out of college. Similarly, we orchestrated a similar kind of program for the country of Israel, wherein some of the Jews who were focusing on different aspects of their life and kind of empowering them as to introducing and connecting them with the rest of the Israel, like Tel Aviv and Haifa, where the true innovation was happening, and kind of pull in the folks from the inner cities and enabling and empowering them so that they can also aspire for these technology jobs. Similarly, we did several other initiatives in Singapore and few other countries like Spain. But in our backyard, we wanted to think how we can create an impact. By impact, we meant meaningful, positive impact in terms of kind of helping the economy grow. We have also institutionalized the Innovation Council with the city of Irvine, with the help of the mayor of Irvine. And I believe while all of these places, we had to kind of work with them to understand and then see how we can add value. In the state of New Mexico, we do have all the necessary ingredients. We have some of the best amazing chefs who can make this innovation happen. What we are trying to find is how we can make this recipe not a happenstance, but more of a systemic way of looking from a public-private partnership. Our vision is that this would turn out to be the largest public-private partnership in our nation. In terms of the levers, what we have seen elsewhere. Now, every geography, every system is different. And this is not a foolproof plan. It's not one size fits all. But what we have seen is technology, talent, infrastructure, capital, and corporate. These are the 5 essential levers that leads to what I would love to call is to assess the innovation quotient, which happens to be the topic of my keynote today. The technology is the disruptor right now. There are other fields that are doing amazingly well, but technology is fueling the momentum. Technology is driving business these days. Gone are the days when technology was more of a laggard following the directives from business. It is responsibility for all the tech executives at all levels, whether it's startup, whether it's a mid-sized company, or even beyond the large corporates, to leverage technology as the fundamental core of their innovation thought process. But the technology, or what can be institutionalized towards becoming a great innovation, is only as strong and robust as the talent. The talent that comes from the great academia. And I was having some great conversation with Lisa last month when I visited her amazing office at Lobo Rainforest. As rightly said, finding rainforest in the middle of a desert. It was amazing and refreshing to see the kind of initiatives that were being taken up by her and her team. It was amazing to see the ecosystem that already exists that needs kind of a funneling strategy so that we can take all of these talent and use them to power the technology conversion into a meaningful solution to a meaningful problem. Most importantly, I was really kind of amazed to see infrastructure, whether it's office space, whether it's all the right incentives to have people start their own company or move into New Mexico. The government has done a fantastic job, not just orchestrating those policies, but also kind of creating this awareness, creating this more of a fundamental core of this ecosystem that the infrastructure already exists. It is there for everyone to leverage and be able to create this, the innovation storm, which leads to that chaotic innovation aspect of it that I was referring earlier. It is very critical to find that home, find that infrastructure that is going to help them get started on their journey towards converting their idea into a dream, into a meaningful product that can be leveraged, that will make everyone's life simpler, better, easier. All of this is important, but if there are no buyers for these kind of innovative ideas and the products, we think that the entire supply chain is going to have a massive breakdown, and that's where corporates play a very, very critical role. Our objective is also to see how we can create, how we can talk to our friends in different institutions, in corporates, and then motivate them to find their home in the state of New Mexico. It's these corporates who are going to fuel the need. If necessity is the mother of invention, as they say, well, change is the father of innovation. I read that somewhere, wanted to quote this and share with you. But it's very important that change, whether it's incremental, radical, sustainable, or disruptive. Change is what's going to be the genesis for why we need to innovate. And the corporates play a very, very critical role in terms of consuming these ideas and then help nurture and foster an ongoing culture of this innovation ecosystem. At least that's what we have seen. Speaking of which, one of the very critical elements, capital. And since we are an early stage venture capital firm, we understand the pain, how much of a risk the entrepreneur has to take with respect to kind of making this idea, presenting it, and we want to bet on these entrepreneurs. Our focus always has been on health tech, cybersecurity, and enterprise AI. And we have met through amazing ideas, but at the end of the day, it is the jockey, not the horse, that we invest in as a culture. So the talent becomes forefront, very critical aspect for us in terms of our investment strategy. So capital is something that we would like to bring in and also create this syndicate. And with all your help, mentoring, and support from all of you here in this session, I think we can bring in the true value for every dollar deployed in the state of New Mexico. And that's why we are being very bullish. Being in California, we think that the state of New Mexico has amazing, immense potential. And we will be also opening our offices very soon in the state of New Mexico. Well, while there are different ways of thinking as to how innovation would work, how it will orchestrate, I wanted to kind of share my thought process in terms of what led me to kind of start my own AI startup some time back. I just recently sold in the August last year. And what my father used to tell me that the Stone Age didn't end because they ran out of stones. It was the change to make their lives simpler, better, orchestrate some kind of thought process that will really help kind of convert a dream into an innovation. But for that, there is an important need to have realization for that dream. The realization that this innovation is going to make everyone's life a little simpler, better, and more effective is the core genesis of innovation. So innovation for the sake of innovation is something that would not be helpful. And that's when in 2017, when I started one of my AI firms, Nirvana Cognition, and co-founded it with Cerracap Ventures, the first thought was, what are we going to do differently? Is it something kind of taking technology like RPA, robotic process automation, and enhance it? Or probably we should really think about disruptive ways in which how we can improve the existing technology, make machine learning more of a mainstream idea. And when people were thinking about how do we orchestrate deep learning, transfer learning, and enrichment learning, and so on and so forth, it was all about taking those nebulous concepts and making it relevant for the enterprises. I am definitely available, and I would like to kind of connect with each and every one of you. And this is the opportunity by which I wanted to come and also share our vision with respect to what we think about New Mexico, how we want to create this force of nature in which innovation will become pivotal and a critical component of how we are going to be viewing the state of New Mexico. I want this to be the innovation hub, the innovation capital. And the entire Cerracap team is really pursuing this dream. And with your help, support, and guidance, I'm very sure that this dream will become a reality. This idea will have some level of realization. On that note, I would like to kind of turn it over to Lisa and kind of thank her for this amazing opportunity that she has provided to Cerracap Ventures. And I look forward to meeting you very soon in the wonderful Lobo Rainforest. Thank you again, Lisa, for this wonderful opportunity to share my thoughts and Cerracap's vision with this amazing, fascinating, elite group of talent that you have assembled as part of the session. Thank you. Thank you again.